In 2011, an unusual joint venture was begun between 7 renowned New York architects and a group of women artisans from Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. Using traditional backstrap looms and sustainable materials, including recycled fibers and naturally dyed cotton thread, the Mayan weavers of Ecolibri Women's Group interpreted and translated design images provided by the architects. The result was a collection of 7 extraordinarily beautiful scarves. We call this unique melding of ancient Mayan skills and urban design the Scarfitecture project. The 7 textiles were displayed at a show in New York City in the fall of 2011. The great success of the show encouraged us to expand the project. Proceeds from the Scarfitecture auction have funded a new workshop in Guatemala for the women artisans and are supporting the implementation of new designs and new products. Now using local wool for sheep in nearby Momostenango, Guatemala. The non-profit organization Ecolibri is delighted to continue this partnership between the women textile artisans of Lake Atitlan and the talented urban architects. Our new garments will be presented in New York City in the fall of 2012. Although Momostenango is Guatemala's wool region, the sheep are raised in small hamlets that are difficult to find.
¿Lo agarro? ¿Usted corta o cómo?
No, córtalo usted, ahí ve.
¿Dónde?
Ahí. ¿Vos fuiste a agarrar su cabeza el animal?
¿Así? ¿Así lo corta ustedes con tijera?
Así.
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 Difícil si es mojado, ¿verdad?
Sí. Cuesta.
¿Usted lo vende solo así?
Sí, solo así lo vendo.
¿Así se corta? ¿Tan corto?
Sí.
¿Y después haces qué?
Lo dejé lana allí, en vez voy a ir a vender allá en Nahualá.
¿Pero lo lavas primero o no?
No.
No.
This local wool is surprisingly inexpensive, given how much labor is involved.
¿Cuánto te va a dar por esto?
6 quetzales. ¿Como a 3, 6 quetzales?
6, ¿sí? ¿Por este? ¿Sí? 6. No, una libra es 3 quetzales. Este tiene más de 2 libras.
The economics of raising sheep for wool is astounding. A woman from Omostenango sells a pound of wool for 3 quetzales, which is about 45 US cents. When she travels to the closest market to sell her product, it costs her the price of 4 pounds of wool, which is 12 quetzales, just to cover her transportation. This woman has 11 sheep that she shaves twice a year. One sheep yields just 1 pound of wool per shearing. After shearing the sheep, the raw wool must be scrubbed to remove the dirt and urine. It is so dirty that we needed to wash the wool in the lake 10 times and then dry it in the sun before we began the process of combing and spurning. It took us 1 long day of work to transform the raw wool into yarn we can use for weaving and crocheting. Our new collection is made from local Guatemalan wool and cotton, dyed with colors from vegetable, fruits and herbs. Using local fibers, we have patched together discarded garments and material found in thrift shops. The result is a line of simple, contemporary clothing. Those who choose to wear it can express themselves and help the Guatemalan women who have pieced it all together. Our hats are crocheted from half-spun wool. One of them is split at the top and each of the sides leads to its own attached glove, reminiscent of the hats and mittens we wore as children. This innovative hat will come in a long and short version. Currently, we are working with 4 colors: brick red, the natural beige and 2 shades of blue. The weave on the local wool is typically very tight, resulting in a rustic and somewhat itchy product that is used primarily for blankets, bags and ponchos. The artisans are so tied to their own tradition that we had a difficult time finding women who were curious about learning new ways to use their skills. Our first sample of this custom-made textile was created on this 75-year-old vintage loom. As you can see, we are beginning to see how the naturally dyed wool behaves. And we are experimenting with fibers by using hand-spun wool for the warp and a combination of cotton and rain for the weft. Here you see Vicenta finishing the sample we started on the pedal loom in Momostenango. This is the second sample of our experimental fabric. Vicenta demonstrates the weaving on her backstrap loom. The weft is cotton and the warp is local wool. This material will be used for our winter skirt that will be lined with cotton. We want to achieve an unravel look, a garment with loose threads that looks almost worn out. After washing a sample of woven fabric in the lake, we observe how the different kinds of wool react to the process. We learn that the dark wool shrinks the most, which we will take into account as we go forward. Benita is demonstrating the weaving of yet another sample. Here we use wool for both the warp and the weft. This is very difficult textile to weave for the wool is shaggy and the result is typically stiff, coarse fabric. Here we are making garments using recycled men's shirts. Since most of the new textiles sold in the local market that are labeled 100% cotton, in fact contain rayon and other fibers. We decided to use good quality cotton cloth shirts that we can buy in local thrift shops in Guatemala, Colpaca. The cotton shirts we are repurposing were made in China, Argentina, Portugal, among other countries. By cutting them up and reassembling the pieces, we are connecting fabric from all over the world using Guatemalan wool. When we finish, we will send these pieces back in a new form on a trip around the globe. We washed and sun-dried the used shirts and then cut them into irregular, randomly shaped pieces. We then patch these pieces together to form one visually interesting piece of cloth.
Sí, este también, excelente, lo haces rojo y se ve que parece, ¿verdad? Solo algunos, ¿verdad? Porque este va a ser decoración y algunos plana. So, por fin, mira, se va a ver así. Y algunos en over, pero cuando ya tiene over, mira, ¿viste cómo tiene error? Puedes seguir este para que se cubra. ¿Ya? Lo mismo estilo.
Aquí y aquí me dijo.
Ajá.
The black skirt is made using the same technique we use with the patch white skirt. The difference here is that we have a wider choice of textiles available. There are many black garments in our local thrift stores, and we are using locally woven black wool for some of the patches. The connections between these black fabric fragments are easier to achieve than the ones we created with the recycled white shirt. Among the recycled black material is fabric from coats and their linings. The result is a patchwork skirt with a rich variety of texture. Watching the development of the black patch skirt will help you to understand how it is similar to the creation of a sculpture. We cut pieces from the second-hand garments, wash and dry them, and finally assemble them. The result is a patchwork skirt with a rich variety of textures. Our white skirt is not as multi-texture because we prefer the uniform lightness of the cotton. We plan to create tops, skirts, scarves and short vests from this black patch material.
Mira esta.
The development of our new collection is still underway. We continue to experiment with and test both the wool and our designs. As we learn more and perfect the processing of the raw wool, our design will evolve to accommodate its changing texture. This creative process has been exciting and immediate. Local Guatemalan weaving can be traced back centuries to a time when society lived in greater harmony with nature, and the production of textile was a human community endeavor.